So today I'm super thrilled to take you through the QA automations feature of Marketrix. We've come to realization that QA is absolutely broken right now. With agentic coding, with vibe coding, right now our teams are able to ship features, build products at a super fast accelerated pace, but the QA cycles are still stuck, right? Say you are a solo founder and then you are vibe coding your own product, right? And then you have to make sure that you are testing each of the flows, whether they are working or broken each time that you ship out a new feature. Same goes even with small teams who are trying to build big things right now. So we want to solve this. So that's why we brought in the QA automations feature of Marketrix. So how we are changing the game here is our agent really mimics the true behavior of how one of your real users are using the application, and we let that agent to actually run the particular flows, right? And then give you the answers whether they passed or failed, right? So let's see how it works. So the first step is to configure your application. So in this case, I've configured Hootsuite, and you can of course connect multiple applications as well. So here I've connected multiple applications like Href, Hootsuite. It could be your staging environment, production environment. So all those you're able to set up over here. So how you set up first is like you go to the home page and then you click on new app and you could give the credentials. And then of course after that you give the initial knowledge base about your application. That will be very helpful for our agent to actually understand what your product is, right? That's where we get you to add your initial knowledge base. That's the documentation and then the walkthrough videos that you have. So after you upload that, then you go into the quality checking feature where we let you to upload your requirement. So it could be the PRD that you upload, or else you could simply explain the particular flow that you want to be tested. Then based on that, our agent basically comes up with test cases, right? Then you could review whether these test cases are right or wrong. Of course, like you can prompt and iterate on these particular test cases. Then what we do is for each of those test cases, we spin up virtual browsers, and then our agent basically goes ahead and explores the product based on each of those flows. So then based on all of this, you are getting reports on each of the stages, right? And then we give you like a final report as well. So I'm going to click on create your first flow. So here I could type something saying test the login flow. So once you, of course, you could attach documents as well. It could be the PRD that you have. And then once you hit next, it starts to generate the test cases, right? So let's give a second. So it would come up with the test cases. So you could go ahead and review all the test cases that it has generated. You could, of course, reprompt and then change the test cases as well. You could see for each of these test cases what's the objective, and then what are the steps that the agent would follow, and what is the expected outcome of this particular test case as well. So the second one is login with an incorrect password, then what happens? Login with non-existent account, then what happens? So likewise it comes up with these test cases. So you could definitely prompt and change the test cases if needed. Then the next step is to run the test. So when you are running the test, you could select which browsers that you want these tests to be run on, and whether you want to do a parallel executions, or else at the same time whether you want to do a fail fast approach, and whether you want to enable self-healing as well, and whether you want to apply auto fixes, and then what's the minimum confidence percentage that you want to apply. And once you click run, then what happens here is, right, as you can see, it spins up virtual browsers for each of these test cases, and you could see what are the tests that are in progress right now and what are the ones that have been passed or failed. So when I click on one of them, what has happened here is it spins up the virtual browser, and then within this virtual browser the agent starts to run that particular test. And while this is happening, you could see the preview of what the progress is, and then at the same time it generates a mind map as it progresses also. So while this is running, let's have a look at a test flow that has already been run before. So I'm going to select HubSpot here. So I go into the main page. So I could see at a glance, right, how many test flows that I have run before, and based on that how many total runs have been there, and how many have been passed, and then what's average pass rate as well, and then how many test cases have failed also, and what are the things that need attention as well. If I click on this particular one, so you could Of course, we allow you to rerun a particular test flow as well if needed, and you could set automations to these particular test flows as well. So they could be triggered by a webhook or triggered by a timer as well, or triggered through a connector also, right? And you could set your own workflows to run these QA flows also. So if I go into this particular flow that has actually been passed, right? So you could see what are the test cases that it has tested for this particular test flow, and then what the pass rate has been, and then how many of these tests have been failed also. So you could check the run history. You could view a replay of how these tests have been taken place as well. You could see all the screenshots and then what the progress has been and how we have actually tested these particular test cases also. You reviewed everything. You could also get a complete report of the complete test flow. It tells the summary of it and then gives you the detailed explanation of each of the tests that we have run as well. That's a walkthrough of how our QA automations feature works. Now you no longer need to run all these manual QA flows or write all these Selenium scripts that breaks every time when your UI is constantly changing and evolving. Give it a try at Marketrix.ai. Just as how you made your shipping speed 10x faster, make sure that your QA is also up to the same speed. Thanks.